It was bound to happen, folks.
No, don't shoot him!
You can't set out on a cinematic adventure with your best friend
Better to be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime.
to make 100 personal appraisals of 100 films
This ain't reality TV!
without running into a couple films by the greatest director alive, Martin Scorsese.
Thank you, sir. All right, see you later. Thanks.
What are you doing? You leaving your car?
Watches the car for me.
From Mean Streets
I'm gonna pay you!
to The Wolf of Wall Street,
There is no nobility in poverty.
Scorsese has shown us a wide range of human behavior. From the awful to the terrible
Are you still a cop? No!
to the horrifying to the occasional couple doses of tenderness.
You know, at times like this, I know I am unlucky, man.
But this week, I'd like to examine perhaps a lesser-known Scorsese flick, Italian-American, starring Catherine Scorsese and Charlie Scorsese, both of whom have made multiple appearances in their son's work.
That's the flame.
Pure stai indo, disgraziate!
Italian-American, which Scorsese himself has called his best film, is a 47-minute documentary made in 1974.
Why are you so far from me?
Okay. All right,
Get closer.
The movie is quite literally a slice of life in which the elder Scorseses allow their son and a small film crew to infiltrate their lives for an evening.
Lovey-dovey, sort of, you know. They say as you get older, your love grows stronger. So for some reason, it is getting a little stronger, you know.
During which they discuss immigration,
So you put her on the boat, and as she turned around for a second, he just faded out of sight.
That's it.
Well, she
that?
remained,
Her brother?
my
Yeah,
uncle.
Andrew, he died.
She became frantic. Naturally, it was too late. The boat had started out. But it took her about 30 days to come to
Very
America.
bad trip.
Very bad trip.
marriage,
And there's times we sit in here, and I says, Charlie, are we mad at each other? Why don't we speak? He says, well, what do you want me to tell you? Gee whiz, I've been home all day. At least talk to me.
What can you tell a person after you're with them for 40 years?
and the recipe for a damn good meatball.
Then I go here. This is what my mother-in-law taught me. Take a few spoonfuls of tomato, and throw them in here because your meatballs remain very soft. Not like some of the meatballs you eat sometime. You're invited somewhere.
Yeah.
You eat a meatball and it's as hard as can be. You throw it at the wall, and the wall will crack. I really shouldn't say that because I have a lot of friends and I'll be getting a lot of telephone calls.
Why I decided to examine this somewhat obscure Scorsese gem is because I believe it has a direct connection to many of Scorsese's groundbreaking masterpieces, like Raging Bull,
All the non-fight scenes come right out of the Italian-American film.
Oh, you're supposed to be a manager. You're supposed to know what you're doing.
If you notice, the non-fighting scenes in the film, there isn't that much camera movement.
What am I in a circus over here?
It's pretty much setting the scene and letting the people work. Letting the people, not the actors, but the people, they're the characters. They're there, and they are placed in their environment, and just let them be.
Playing with you, then you were responsible for them.
I would have taken him. What's the difference? Maybe he did mean. Maybe he was sincere about the whole thing. I don't know.
There's a moment where your father is talking about his mother, your grandmother.
And she had to say something she told you, and that was it. And you couldn't answer her. He was tough.
And he says,
My mother was she was a real whip.
That, for me, is one of the shakiest emotional moments for me to watch. I left it that way because that's his personality. She was more outgoing. That's where the Goodfellas comes from.
You remind me of when we were kids, compadres used to visit one another, and there was this man, he would never talk, he would just sit there all night and not say a word. So they said to him, what's the matter, compadre? Don't you talk? Don't you say anything? He says, what am I going to say? That my wife 2 times me? So she says to him, shut up, you're always talking. But in Italian, it sounds much nicer, you know. Yeah, that's it.
Unlike most feature films and even most documentaries, Italian-American doesn't tell a defined story.
Talk natural. Don't try to put on that you're not an actress.
I'm not putting on any airs. You're looking for a fight or something?
The subject here is simply 2 people
You're looking for a fight or something there.
No.
See, Marty, every time I sit close to him, he moves away.
who, for Scorsese, are intriguing enough to hold our attention.
It's really character. I like character-driven films.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
They reveal a lot about their character in the movie.
You had it wrong.
Charlie, I was right.
What were you right about?
My father should smash the grape
Yeah,
with
but
his
not-
feet
But not with the...
and then put in the thing.
But no, they can't. You mash it once. Oh, my God.
Your father didn't have the machine my father had.
The camera records them and doesn't intrude. I found that was interesting. That ultimately, you know, the most extraordinary thing in a frame is a human being, especially when they're able to communicate emotions to you, or humor, or sadness, or whatever, any kind of emotion, and you get to know them by watching their faces on the screen.
Okay, that's good.
I remember one time we had a fig tree. We used to love fig trees, and my mother couldn't stand them.
Yeah?
In the wintertime, you had to cover them very, very well, otherwise they froze. One winter, when he did climb up, he was getting old. He fell off the ladder, and he got hurt. And my mother was so angry. She says to him, I hope those fig trees die. I hope they never bloom again. She says, and then, of course, my mother became ill, and the next winter she passed away, and trees never bloomed anymore. It was just like she took them with her, and that was that.
For Frame of Mind, I'm Britt Michael Gordon.